The sun set over the Orlando skyline as the glow of the Camping World lights highlighted the next chapter of the 2021 season. As Monster Jam celebrated two of the sport's longtime heroes, the full moon changed the tide and revealed what could be a new legend. The woes of some continued in the sandy Florida dirt, and many of the 6-ton monsters were laid out on the beach. With one more round left, we will see if the crowd favorites will continue their dominance, or will another unknown prove why this really is the happiest place on earth. This is round 9. This is Orlando. This is Monster Jam.
Nice air. And he saves it. There is your wow factor. Big air out of the box. Awesome move, look at that!
Welcome to the city beautiful Orlando, Florida and Camping World Stadium. Today's home for round 9 of 26 of the 2021 Monster Jam season. I'm Scott Jordan alongside Colt Stevens. It is a gorgeous but hot 90-degree afternoon here in Orlando, where the emotion is still high from an unforgettable round 8 as two of the sport's legends were inducted into the Monster Jam Hall of Fame. Today, the next class of Hall of Fame inductees will be announced at halftime, but Colt, you and I have been asking the same question all weekend. Who will step up, challenge Ryan Anderson, 4 of the championships in a row? We talked about Bryce Kenny, we talked about Todd LeDuc, we talked about Adam Anderson, but it was Cole Vennard, the rise of the Black Pearl, that stole the show.
That's right, Scott. Yesterday was Cole's day. He had that track dialed in. I called it in the earlier rounds. I thought Cole would come out on fire, but it's taken him a little bit longer. He's had to deal with the truck, getting comfortable, getting his shocks right and stuff like that, but it finally proved here in Orlando the last round with him coming away with the event championship.
Let's take a look at the driver lineup for round 9 in Orlando. So, Colt, besides Cole Vennard, who are you expecting to rise to the occasion?
You know, I'm really excited to see Barry Musauer. This is his hometown. This is the last show here in Orlando. He has his family here. I know he's super excited. He had a great run yesterday. Just didn't quite get exactly what he wanted, but if he can go out there today and do what he wants to, I really feel like this could be Barry's time.
There was a lot of wreckage last night. Drivers were plagued with technical issues throughout the event, but the Black Pearl seemingly went unscathed through all 3 competitions. And for more on that, let's head downstairs to our pit reporter, Leslie Mears, and this UNOH pit report.
Well, it's kind of been a little bit of a rolling start here for Cole Vennard as he finally picks up his first overall event championship. So, Cole, what small changes have you made along the way that have kind of helped you gain some consistency and pick that up?
You know, for me, it's been getting my body warped back into doing this because we've had such a break, but the truck, we got the truck kind of dialed in. Houston was really bad luck for us in a sense. I don't know if it was the dirt or what. Racing we had figured out, don't get me wrong there, but freestyle I could not get in my groove at all, and we found it here. We found it, we're getting there, and now I'm excited for today to just continue on and actually go have fun.
Here's the Monster Jam Steel Titans 2 event breakdown. Our drivers will compete in 3 competitions: Monster Energy Racing, the Great Clip Skills Challenge, and BKT Monster Jam Freestyle. 12 points will be awarded to the winner of each competition, with a total of 36 points on the line, and the driver with the most points at the end of the night will be crowned the overall event champion. It's time now for Track Talk presented by Great Clips. Cole, what have you been seeing from the track this weekend that might affect the drivers?
Scott, this track has been very inconsistent. We started off with the first round. The track was really slick but dry at the same time. Then we went to the next round, same track, but it was wet slick. So the drivers had to compensate for that. Saw a lot of diversity and a lot of different driving styles out there. So this is definitely a driver's track.
Here's the Monster Energy Racing bracket round 1 matchup. Scooby-Doo versus Avenger. That's going to be Lindsey Reed and Jim Kohler. Black Pearl versus Monster Energy. Gravedigger versus Rage. Overboard versus Max D. And then the first round buys belong to Megalodon, Zombie, Bakugan Dragonoid, and Great Clips Mohawk Warrior based on their finish in round 8 of Monster Energy Racing. So Adam Anderson, of course, been on a tear lately, winning the last 2 racing competitions. But looking at those first round matchups, which one stands out to you as a premier matchup?
I really like the second matchup here. We got Cole Vennard versus Todd LeDuc. Cole Vennard coming off a high yesterday with the event championship, wants to continue that momentum. But the story, Todd LeDuc missed both racing and skills in the last round, so he really needs a win here to get his points back up.
We are ready to go with Monster Energy Racing. Our first matchup of round one, Lindsey Reed and Scooby-Doo, Jim Kohler and Avenger.
Both of them have been struggling a little bit in racing, but they both have been able to get one win in first round here in Orlando.
And Lindsey Reed first to the chalk. And she's slowing down on this turn. And Jim Kohler now taking advantage.
Already, Scott, I'm seeing that far lane. It looks like it's got a bad race lane jump. It's throwing the drivers really crooked.
But Jim Kohler will advance. Lindsey Reed had him at the start, but a great break for Jim Kohler. He moves on to round two. Our next match up, last round's overall event champion, Cole Vennard in the Black Pearl against Todd LeDuc and Monster Energy. And let's go down to Leslie Mears right now with some information on Todd LeDuc.
Yeah, guys, he lost a ton of points last round, but he said it's not impacted his mentality. He said he can't be mad about bad luck. He said he's in a situation where he still feels like he can climb back up and gain that momentum that he needs to be on top.
This matchup is as exciting as racing gets between these two. And Todd LeDuc with a slight advantage now coming around the turn. He goes wide, Vennard goes tight. Oh man! To the finish, Todd gets the win. That is a win he needed.
Wow, he really needed that win in order to get the points for another event championship. That's not looking good for Cole so far.
Now is the first matchup of the season between Kristen Anderson in Gravedigger and Corey Rummel in Rage.
This track is going to play in Corey's favor. He's known for slinging it in that corner and holding it wide open all the way around the Chicago-style track.
Now up over the race ramps. This is as close as it gets right now. Look at the wide drift from Gravedigger. Corey Rummel hits the tire. Not gonna matter.
Woo, that was a close one.
We're gonna take a look at the Super Glue Glue to the Action replay. The final turn, Corey Rummel just gets the inside of that tire, but it's not gonna matter. He will walk out of here with the win and advance to round two. Our final round one matchup, it's 12-time World Finals champion Tom Meents in Max D Fire and Jamie Garner in Overboard.
Tom has a brand new, fresh motor. They had to change the motor after last round. He was in freestyle and the motor just let go, no more. So they got a new, fresh motor in it. So I'm excited to see how fast he can be with that new motor.
Tom gets that front left tire up off the track, and he is now on a tear. But look, he is going to struggle here in this corner. The one that you've been talking about. Here comes Jamie Garner, and he slows down.
Oh, man, that's the one thing, not having a sway bar for Tom Meents. He picked that tire up, truck got a little wonky, and messed him up coming over that race lane and couldn't adjust fast enough to beat Jamie.
Here's where we stand after round one of racing. It's going to be Megalodon against Avenger, Zombie against Monster Energy, Bakugan Dragonoid against Rage, Grey Clips Mohawk Warrior against Overboard. Round one is history as Orlando's own Bari Musauer gets Zombie ready to hit the track. Round two of Monster Energy Racing is up next on Monster Jam. Monster Jam is brought to you by Spin Master. Create your own epic Monster Jam stunts with official Monster Jam toys. Real toys, real action, Monster Jam. Welcome back to round 9 of the 2021 season in Orlando. Round 2 of Monster Energy Racing about to start. Our first matchup in round 2, 5-time World Finals champion Adam Anderson in Megalodon against 2-time World Finals champion Jim Kohler in Avenger.
You know, Adam last night was having some fuel pump issues, and if you watched the last round and you saw his motor die during freestyle, that's because he wasn't getting enough fuel. But they wanted to pull the truck outside, test the fuel pump again since he got to go wide open, and it looks like it tested okay. Hopefully, that's a good thing for Adam. The truck fell on its face off the starting line. That tells me right away it looks like he's got a fuel pump issue again.
And Jim Kohler sideways. He lands in the center of the track. And he is going to spin himself out. Adam Anderson gets to walk the shark to the finish line.
Wow, he's got an issue. He needs to get that thing back outside, get the crew guys a look at it, because you can definitely tell when he left that line, the truck just completely almost stopped for a millisecond.
As we continue round 2, Orlando's Barry Musauer enters the bracket for the first time in Zombie. He's in the right lane. Todd LeDuc and Monster Energy in the far left lane. Now Todd LeDuc is starting to look like the Todd LeDuc we expect in racing. Barry Musauer now drifting around the turn. Here comes Monster Energy. And there is your winner. So Todd LeDuc, that maybe he's finally gotten this Monster Energy truck right for racing.
Well, Todd comes from the West Coast, and the West Coast is known for having sandy dirt or even deserts out there. He does a lot of desert racing, and maybe that's the advantage Todd needs for this round here in Orlando.
Our next matchup, Ryan Anderson, a two-time World Finals champion in Bakugan Dragonoid. He is up against Corey Rummel in Rage, representing Team Scream Racing. Corey Rummel slow in that turn. Ryan Anderson much faster. We got some smoke coming out of Bakugan.
That is not good to see already. It looks like it's coming out of the header. Hopefully it's not an engine. I've seen crews change engines during a show, but it's not something you want to have to deal with. That is bad for the points leader right now.
And it's bad enough how slick this side of the track is over here. Now there is oil from Bakugan all over this turn.
Man, that's telling me that might be a motor that's blown up.
Our final second round matchup, Bryce Kenny, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior against Jamie Garner in Overboard. I want to see how this oil in this right lane plays out now. Overboard goes wide and avoids it. Here comes Bryce Kenny, and he has got a big lead right now on Jamie Garner. And he is going to slide right past it. Look at Overboard spinning out into a donut.
What a showman. He spun out. He's like, I'm just going to do a donut for the fans. Easy win for Bryce Kenny.
Let's now take a look at the semifinals of Monster Energy Racing. It's going to be a battle of former world champions. And one matchup, five-time World Finals champion Adam Anderson and Megalodon against two-time World Finals champion Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy. Then Corey Rummel, who has a racing win in round 5 in Houston. He's in Rage going up against Bryce Kenny, who won round 6 in Houston in Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Now, before we get to our semifinals, let's head back down to Leslie Mears. A lot happening back there so far in racing.
Yeah, I just got done talking to Nick Mole about what's going on with Megalodon, and he said that they're still having fuel pressure issues. So when Adam goes full throttle, he's still not getting enough juice to the motor. So what they did is they replaced the main relay switch in the EFI system, hoping that that will get the right signals in the right places to give him enough fuel for racing.
Semifinals are about to begin in Monster Energy Racing. In the right lane, Adam Anderson and Megalodon. Left lane, Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy. Adam Anderson has 7 racing wins in a row. He's won the last 2 racing competitions, and he is 4-0 against Todd LeDuc this season.
Fell on his face again.
Adam with a slow start. We have not seen that at all. And here comes Todd. He whips the back of that Monster Energy truck around Adam Anderson. All kinds of issues.
But it's playing to his advantage. He could still get it.
Todd even slowed down in this far corner over here. Todd LeDuc does win. What went wrong with Megalodon?
Adam seems to have a lot of issues with that truck. Hopefully his crew chief is communicating with him and they can get it figured out.
Our final matchup in the semifinal round, Corey Rummel in Rage, Bryce Kenny, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. A lot of pressure when you are called the fastest Monster Jam driver in the world. We'll see if Corey Rummel can beat Bryce for the first time this season. And throttle rhythm of Rage, outrageous right now. Bryce Kenny, these two are close here in the semifinals. Final turn for Kenny, final turn for Rage. Wow, what a finish. And Corey Rummel takes the win. Wow, Rage moving on to the finals.
It seems like Corey really has his Chicago-style track figured out.
It's Todd LeDuc versus Corey Rummel. Who will take the win? Find out next when we return. Welcome back to round 9 of the 2021 Monster Jam season. We are in our final event here in Orlando, Florida, and it's the Monster Energy Racing Finals. Two-time World Finals champion Todd LeDuc in that left lane in Monster Energy. Corey Rummel in the right lane in Rage. As I mentioned before, Corey Rummel did have a big racing win in round 5 in Houston, and these two have met once already, and Corey Rummel in Rage did take that win. We are off in the racing final. LeDuc gets inside his lane. He's got the advantage halfway through. And look at Corey Rummel. He loves getting tight in that lane. Todd LeDuc with a leap to the finish line. And that's what you want if you're Todd LeDuc. Come out here and win this racing competition.
Todd needed those points. Last show, he had 0 points in racing. So getting all 12 of these points is a big deal for Todd.
After one competition, let's take a look at the BKT Top 5 leaderboard. Todd LeDuc with a racing win, getting 12 points. Corey Rummel gets 11. Bryce Kenny with 10. Adam Anderson with 9. And Barry Musauer with 8, rounding out your BKT Top 5. Let's head down to the track. Leslie's with our racing winner.
It's definitely a day of redemption here for Todd LeDuc. So how good does it feel after the struggle, 1 round to go, to pick up this win?
No, it was. Yesterday was definitely humbling. It was a gut check for sure for this Monster Energy team, but we just dug down deep. We looked at each other, Jeff Sin and I, and we said, we're going to do this. This is our night. This is where we got to change the championship back into our favor, and it just went perfectly our way, and unbelievable. Like I said, all the fans, Jeff Sin, all the guys who have been working tirelessly, my hat's off to all the crew guys. They're stunning, and they're awesome, and this is just the beginning. I feel just a new Todd right now, and I'm pumped.
Now with the racing in the books, it was time for our second competition of the day, the Great Clip Skills Challenge. Each driver had the option to attempt 2 technical maneuvers on 2 wheels or a donut. Competitors attempted a variety of moves and combinations and were judged based on creativity, skill, and execution. 12 points were on the line towards today's overall event championship, so let's take a quick look back at the top competitors. In third place, it was Todd LeDuc in Monster Energy with a popper nose wheelie.
Now Todd needs to be consistent to get those points for the event championship.
And then in second place, Tom Menz in Max D Fire doing what he does best, the maximum moonwalk.
Keep going. 3, 2.
And finally, Corey Rummel with the move of the year in Rage, this incredible reverse jump into a back roll, and he was the winner of the Great Clip Skills Challenge. Let's take a look at our overall event leaderboard after 2 competitions. With his win in the Great Clip Skills Challenge, Corey Rummel jumps up to the top spot with 23. Todd LeDuc drops to second with 22. Adam Anderson and Bryce Kenny each have 17. And Jim Kohler and Tom Menz each have 14. And after his win in the Great Clip Skills Challenge, our own Leslie Mears caught up with Corey Rummel.
Corey, I can't even imagine what was happening inside the cab of your truck. How were you able to pull off that move?
I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I watched everybody else. I watched Tom. I watched Bryce. And Bryce was doing exactly what I wanted to. I wanted to kind of jump and land up on the top. And I felt it going, so I just pinned her, man. It's the best thing ever. Awesome.
2 out of 3 competitions have been completed, and the race for the event championship is wide open. But coming up on our halftime report, the second class of the Monster Jam Hall of Fame will be announced. We'll be right back with more from Camping World Stadium. Everyone at Monster Jam is proud to be partners with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Become a partner in hope and receive a custom St. Jude and Monster Jam We Won't Stop t-shirt. Text Monster Jam to 785-833 or visit stjude.org/Monster Jam to learn more. Welcome back to Orlando, Florida, the site of the 2019 Monster Jam World Finals. It's been an exhilarating afternoon. Todd LeDuc comes out, the resurgence of Todd winning racing, then Corey Rummel with that great back roll winning the Great Clip Skills Challenge, and of course Ryan Anderson, all kinds of problems in the back. He is down but not out.
That's right. We've seen this time and time again. Motors blow in these Monster Jam trucks quite often, but we have the best crew out there. The thing is, hopefully they can get it changed and get him back out here for freestyle. I know Ryan really wants to get those points so he can stay in the points lead.
Last night, we witnessed the induction of Dennis Anderson and Scott Douglas into the Monster Jam Hall of Fame. And Colt, I know you will agree that it was a very special night.
Absolutely. You can feel the emotion in the air. When Dennis hit the track out there with Gravedigger one last time and did a lap in front of all these Orlando fans, you could really feel it. He says Orlando is Digger country, and you could definitely tell that.
I know the anticipation has been through the roof as to who the next class will be, and the next inductee certainly carved his place in Monster Jam history. Take a look.
Gary Porter is a Monster Jam legend.
He was by my dad's side from the bottom.
What he could do in a small arena in a Monster Jam truck was just amazing. He always knew where he was, and he could always really push the limits without going across the boundaries or really putting the truck in danger. He was a smooth driver, really good racer, and he just put on a great show.
What a piece of driving. What an incredible save that was, Mike.
He was always very consistently good, but his equipment was also consistently top-notch, well-maintained. There was never any faltering in that. And in fact, Mr. Consistency was one of his nicknames.
And every time he was on the track, he was a competitor. He always wanted to win. He always showed the best foot forward because he had great equipment and he was a great ability on the track. He showed other people the way.
Monster Jam is proud to announce the Carolina Crusher Gary Porter as a member of the 2021 Hall of Fame class. Coach, Gary Porter is one of the all-time greats, but I know he's also one of your all-time favorites.
Yeah, growing up, I used to always watch Gary. He was so fast. The trucks were so different back then. You know, it was all about racing, and Gary seemed to always go out there and put on a winning race. I love seeing that Carolina Crusher truck out there on the track.
Now, for our next inductee, we shift gears from behind the wheel to behind the curtain to a man who was instrumental in the development of making Monster Jam what it is today.
Mike Wales was the director of the Monster Jam fleet, and which was in charge of all the monster trucks, maintaining the crew guys, the shops, and everything that you see on TV every weekend or at a live event. You know, he had a hand in all of it.
He was there as a driver in the very early stages of Monster Jam and progressed into the person that wanted to be responsible for lots of drivers and be responsible for lots of trucks. So the Monster Jam trucks and the birth of Monster Jam was literally created on his back.
Mike was an innovator, and he was the original architect of what has become the largest fleet of race vehicles in the entire world.
Monster Jam was his passion. Monster Trucks was his passion. He lived it. He breathed it every day.
Monster Jam is proud to honor the late Mike Wales as the newest member of the 2021 Monster Jam Hall of Fame class. Now, sadly, Mike passed away in 2016 after a lengthy career in Monster Jam, and to know him was to love him. And of course, his wife Peggy is on hand today to accept his honor. Now, Colt, you and I talked a lot last night about how instrumental Scott Douglas was in my career in getting started with Monster Jam, but I know Mike was instrumental in you getting started in Monster Jam.
That's right, Scott. Mike was there whenever I just started crewing. I was out here working on the trucks, trying to get my name out there, maybe get into a truck, you know, and then I was at this show, and Mike walks up to me and says, "Hey, do you have a passport? Do you want to be a driver like your dad?" And I'll never forget, I was like, heck yeah. So Mike is definitely one of the reasons that I got into this industry, but he's also one of the reasons I'm able to stay here. He was a big factor in a lot of the decisions that went down to any of these Monster Jam trucks, the tracks, and the whole behind-the-scenes thing. It was Mike Wales, so very happy for the Wales family.
Now our attention shifts back to the track as we get closer to crowning our Round 9 event champion. Our final competition, BKT Freestyle, is next. The action all weekend here at Camping World Stadium has been exciting, and it's about to go down in Orlando, Florida. Now, as we went through our 6 rounds in Houston, Colt, we saw the track started to take its toll both on the drivers and the trucks. Now, through 2.5 rounds here in Orlando, we're starting to see the same thing. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the track is definitely the third competitor out there. The track seems to be changing a lot between having day shows and night shows. The water and the heat all play a factor in this, and the drivers are going to have to digest the track and figure out the right lines and the right place to be and beat the track as well as the truck. and the other competition.
With tonight's lineup, we're definitely in for some big action, so let's get it started. It's time for BKT Monster Jam Freestyle. Each driver has 2 minutes to put together a spectacular freestyle performance. Our drivers will be judged by fans in attendance based on creativity, momentum, the use of all obstacles on the track, and their ability to fill the entire clock. To qualify for a score, drivers must complete the first 30 seconds of their run. This is BKT Freestyle. Here comes 12-time World Finals champion Tom Meents and Max D Fire. This track's special for him as well. He won his latest World Finals championship here in 2019.
Oh, wheelie out of Max D!
Incredible wheelie on the backside of that ramp.
You hardly ever see Max D wheelie. The same reason he can do the skills challenge so well on that front end, because the motors in the front hinders him from usually doing a wheelie. We actually got a slap wheelie out of Max D.
And look at the length of the track he hits. Comes down a little awkward on the right side. He is still rolling.
He's got a fresh motor in this truck. Unfortunately, he lost the motor in freestyle last round. So he's got a nice fresh motor in this truck. It should not hold him back whatsoever.
Not see a whole lot of bounce there on that landing. Gets the front end down, pops the 2 tires and the back as well. Here comes Max D, picking up momentum, hits the brakes, clearing the pod again.
I love when you hear Max D comes into the corners, gets through the corner, and watch, he's gonna lay into it right here. Wide open.
When you say a driver is wide open, what exactly does that refer to?
That means our throttle pedal is wide open, pushed all the way to the floor. The pedals to the metal. Oh my gosh.
Uncharacteristic of Tom Meents. He got no momentum coming off the backflip round. What in the heck went wrong for Max D Fire?
Scott, when he came into that, the transition was a little rough. So when the front tires hit, it actually picked the rear tires up off the ground, not getting any traction. So when they hit the ground, he didn't have any momentum to keep the rotation going for the backflip.
Let's head back downstairs to our pit reporter, Leslie Mears.
Guys, Barry Musauer told me that he had a really good plan for freestyle until he got out on the track and he saw how far they pushed up the race ramps. Part of his plan was big air and slap wheelies, and now he said he's gonna have to check up a little bit when he hits those so it doesn't launch him straight up.
All right, thank you, Leslie. Here comes Barry Musauer, 1 freestyle win on the season in round 6 in Houston. Barry loves that jammer, loves getting those slap wheelies on the backside. Look at all the loose dirt sitting there on that race ramp, and look at the elevation for the front end of Zombie.
Those 2 outside ramps pushed up like that, when I'm driving, they're some of my favorite hits. You can hit them wide open and have plenty of room on the other end to go as big as you want.
At halftime, Cole, you talked a little bit about you getting started in Monster Jam and the effect Mike Wales had on that. Barry has an incredible story about getting started in Monster Jam. He was racing RC trucks at Digger's Dungeon. How incredible is that when you have this hobby and it leads you into a full-time career as one of the best in the business?
It's not surprising, Scott. Actually, most drivers have RC cars. A lot of us use them to actually try different things and see if it'll work with an RC car first, but they're not just toys. We actually use them as tools.
Oh, look at the setup for Barry. Tried to get it, got stuck on the 1 tire, flipped it in the air, and just lost control.
This track has been detrimental to these trucks so far. We've had quite a bit of rollovers.
So taking a look at the Super Glue to the Action replay, got a bounce on the left side, and then that wheel just bent over, and Barry could not contain it, couldn't get the save. As Adam Anderson heads to the track in Megalodon, it is our great pleasure to welcome into the booth the newest member of the 2021 Monster Jam Hall of Fame class, Carolina Crushers, Gary Porter. Gary, welcome to the broadcast booth. First off, congratulations. I know this was a big surprise for you. How you feeling, man, after that announcement?
I'm going to tell you what, it's really, there are not enough words for it. I mean, it's just awesome, you know, to get invited down here to be a part of Dennis Anderson and Scott Douglas getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then to find out it was sort of a setup to get me down here to announce my induction into it. I mean, it's just, it's incredible. It's going to take it a day or two to sink in, actually.
Well, let's talk about Adam Anderson's run here. He is just 6 points out of the overall event championship. You know, you've been up and down the road with Dennis Anderson. I know you see a lot of traits in Adam that you've seen in Dennis.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, Adam's a very consistent driver, and he's all about the fans. I mean, he wants to make sure, number one, those fans in the stands are satisfied there. And, you know, the first show I ever done with Dennis, Adam was just a few days old, and they had him out at a Monster Jam show way back in 1986. And, you know, to see these boys coming up and out here and doing what they're doing, it's nice to watch them.
When you take a look at a track like this, what would stand out to you if you were down there at Carolina Crusher right now? Where would you go?
Oh, man, these tracks are so awesome. You know, I would probably do about what like Adam's doing. You know, and actually when I was still driving and would get to do a show with him, I would watch him and learn from him. You know, because I was doing more arenas and, you know, they were doing more stadiums. So I had a lot to learn from him at these stadium shows.
And he's lining up now for the Monster Energy backflip ramp. He skies Megalodon and lands it. Look at that. Now, Colt, I know that you've been waiting for this moment for Gary to come up here. So before we let him go, man, go ahead.
Man, it's been awesome to see you get inducted to the Hall of Fame, man. Growing up, watching you and my dad go down the road. I always hated when you were there, but loved it at the same time. I loved the truck. You were always on top, but I knew you were going to beat my dad every single time. So.
Hey, thank you. I mean, your dad inspired me a lot. I mean, he was in Monster Jam actually before I was, and you know, it was always great to travel with him and to compete with him, and he was a great competitor.
Adam Anderson with a phenomenal run on the track, did the backflip, and then let Todd LeDuc have it with a little nudge. Gary, thank you so much for your time, sir. Congratulations on the announcement. We look forward to welcoming you into the Monster Jam Hall of Fame very soon.
Hey, thank y'all for having me, and it's an honor.
With a superstar lineup unlike Monster Jam has ever seen, not every driver is going to make it into the top 5 of freestyle. Let's take a look back at some of the lower performing freestyle runs. Corey Rummel had everything going his way. He lost a wheel and he ends up in the back of the pack. Jamie Garner's been so consistent and overboard in freestyle tonight, just not his night. Kristen Anderson had some great wow moments, left a lot of time on the clock. Bryce Kenny and Great Clips Mohawk Warrior with a crazy roll that shortened his run. And Mr. Excitement Jim Kohler couldn't quite land the 8-pack and didn't make it into the BKT top 5. With just a few trucks left to compete, here is the current BKT overall event leaderboard through 2 competitions. Corey Rummel at the top with 23, Todd LeDuc with 22, Adam Anderson and Bryce Kenny with 17, and then Avengers Jim Kohler and Tom Mentz and Max D. Fire each with 14. Cole, we've had a lot of epic moments in Monster Jam history, but one that's still fresh in a lot of our minds happened right here at Camping World Stadium at the 2019 Monster Jam World Finals.
Man, I remember that, Scott. That was an epic freestyle, and everyone was talking about it.
Now, some say that Orlando is the happiest place on earth, and someone that can attribute to that is Lindsay Reed, the driver of Scooby-Doo. I think she would agree to that sentiment as we take a look back at her 2019 World Finals freestyle run in this round's Monster Energy Action of the Week. Lindsay Reed entered that weekend winning the Showdown, making history as the first female competitor to win Showdown. She went second in freestyle, and just the run of her career gave her a freestyle championship and etched her name into Monster Jam history.
And she had a lot of wow moments like that flip right there, but the one that set her over the edge is this move right here. Going into a wheelie, committing to it, getting this crazy wild barrel roll, and continuing on. Watch it here again. Gets a wheelie, wild crazy barrel roll all over the place, and drives away.
The cartwheel save from World Finals 20 is your Monster Energy Action of the Week. What a story that was for Lindsay and her family. Coming up, more big air, more action, more freestyle, more Monster Jam. Great Clips, the official hair salon of Monster Jam. You can feel good about getting a great haircut with their Great Care Promise. Check out the details at greatclips.com and check in online today. Welcome back to the exciting conclusion of round 9 in Orlando. With just a few trucks left to compete, here is the current BKT overall event leaderboard through 2 competitions. Corey Rummel at the top with 23, Todd LeDuc with 22, Adam Anderson and Bryce Kenny with 17, and then Avengers Jim Kohler and Tom Menz and Max D. Fire each with 14. Let's get an update from the pits on Ryan Anderson's Bakugan Dragonoid. What's going on, Leslie?
Guys, they've got the fresh motor in, but they don't have the supercharger back on yet. So it's a little bit of a slower process than they were hoping that it would be. It's all hands on deck, but they don't know if they're going to make it back.
Our next competitor in freestyle is Todd LeDuc and Monster Energy. Now, earlier, I had a chance to sit down and talk with Todd about last night where he had RII issues that cost him a lot of points. And I said, how do you feel about that? And he said, you know what, it's going to happen. I'm okay with it. I'm going to lose points. Everybody's going to lose points. And Ryan's been sitting there at the top of the leaderboard consistently, and I'm just waiting for him to have a night where he doesn't get those points. And that night is tonight. So Todd LeDuc sat and waited last night. This could be the night where he takes advantage of Ryan Anderson being in the pits.
Yeah, it's definitely a talking point because I know Ryan wasn't letting Todd live it down. Now the shoe is on the other foot for Todd. So Todd has the advantage. It may have a situation where Ryan can't make it back.
Now Todd LeDuc, the door is wide open, but Adam Anderson is standing in the way. Todd looking for his first event championship of the 2021 season. Talked earlier about being humbled, and we know that Todd is very confident, but even the most confident people can be humbled, and I think he's more dangerous when he has these humbling moments.
I love when I see Todd do stuff like that. It's a Supercross style jump right there, and we know Todd talks about how he watches Supercross to learn from those guys and how to fly.
Oh, LeDuc leap right there.
Huge air. Brakes, gets the truck to nose over. He's definitely showing truck awareness.
You mentioned he learns a lot watching Supercross. The Supercross athletes whip their bikes around the track, and Todd tries to put those elements into Monster Jam.
Oh, kind of a weird bounce there.
Definitely weird. Had a really awkward look on that front left tire, but he is still going, and he is coming to the far side of the track for the Monster Energy backflip ramp. This could win him the event championship right now. Oh, look at the length on the backside. Cannot whip that around, but he's going to try.
Man, so close.
Taking a look now at the super glue glued to the action replay. Here's the backflip. Usually Todd perfect in these.
Yeah, he hits the other side, but just too much rotation, ends up on the roof.
8.727 for Todd LeDuc. So that run right there may have just secured the overall event championship for Todd LeDuc, and this could be huge for the rest of the season. Next up in BKT Freestyle, it's Cole Vennard, the Black Pearl, the event champion from round 8, and he is not going to waste any time.
That was a cool move out of the box, hitting that crooked.
Picking up momentum here for the Black Pearl. Doesn't get the front 2 tires down, gets some great air.
Ooh.
That big air, he just got 60 feet across the pod on that jump.
Step on, step off. And timing for that is so key. You got to know how far you want to go, the speed you need to get to that ramp in order to fly exactly where you want to.
And you got to get the balance. Let's talk about the shocks. They're filled with nitrogen. Why are these shocks filled with nitrogen? If you could explain that to the audience, is it to give them that huge bounce, right? To let it's an ergon gas.
Nitrogen is a gas that's really easy to control. It doesn't change as much as other gases do. The nitrogen goes in there. It's got oil in there as well. Uh-oh, lining up for the backflip.
And he goes a little awkward there on the square. And he comes, he flips it around, and awkward on the back tires, but he's got the 2 front down. He did not square up, and it didn't matter as he is now hitting the ramp in front of him nearest to the backflip ramp. You know, the amount of control these shocks have over these Monster Jam trucks is amazing to me. So they sort of live and die by the shocks.
Definitely, the shocks are the most important thing that we have on a Monster Jam truck. They're what protect the driver. We could not go as big as we do without good working shocks.
getting the audience up here in Orlando. Let's take a look at the replay.
Cole came out on a vengeance, hitting everything out there. Nice momentum, going up to the backflip. Man, that thing is so aggressive. Spins the truck over, almost over-rotates, just barely catches it.
And we got a shot in the back. Holy cow, they did it. Here comes Ryan Anderson in Bakugan Dragonoid.
What a testament to these crew guys. They changed an entire motor in this Monster Jam truck just since the show started, since first round.
I would not want to be in his way right now. He is going to drive with a vengeance like we have never seen out of Ryan Anderson.
Ryan's going to leave every piece of this Dragon on the track. Oh, getting a little hairy. Oh, look at him excited. You can see him shaking his fist in there.
I love the raw emotion from Ryan in the truck, man. Nobody gets more fired up during a run than Ryan Anderson, except maybe a guy I knew named Colt Stevens.
Listen to that throttle. That wide open like we were talking about earlier. Love it. You can feel it. The crowd can feel that motor.
One thing Ryan loves to say to the crowds is he's not stopping till the truck's stopping, and I think we might get a preview of what that's like here. Look at the air for Bakugan Dragonoid.
That's true truck awareness. He hit the brakes right after the truck left the line. That takes a quick thought to know that the trucks need the brakes that soon.
When do you know when to hit the gas when you're in midair?
You know, the thing is you have to feel that. That's all by the seat. You have to feel that in your body. We're locked into that seat with our belts and our neck restraints, so we can't really see much. You have to literally feel it inside your body.
Under 30 seconds to go. Incredible, comes down on the side, lands it, and look at the drift in Freestyle.
Loving it, picking the inside tire up all the way through the corner, never lifting, slamming it in there. Yeah, it's going sideways.
Sidewinder to the backflip ramp. Look at the momentum. 9.319 for Ryan Anderson. He will finish in second in Freestyle. The Freestyle win goes to his brother Adam. We can take a look now at our final BKT Freestyle top 5. Adam Anderson and Megalodon going to win this one with a 9.718. Right behind him is brother Ryan Anderson, 9.319. Then Cole Venard and the Black Pearl in third. Tyler Duke and Monster Energy in fourth. And Tom Mintz and Max D Fire rounding out our final BKT Freestyle top 5. Let's go down to the track. Leslie Mears standing by with our Freestyle winner, Adam Anderson.
Adam, I don't know how you were able to put so many elements in that run. Was that a strategic plan for you to take the Freestyle win?
It somewhat was. I was actually, watching the show unfold, watching the other competitors. I knew that I had to top that. I had to keep going, and as long as I could and throw a little flair in it, I honestly told myself, once Tom Mintz didn't land that backflip, I'm going to win the Freestyle today. And then even afterwards, I loved coaxing the other drivers and pushing them to their limits.
Here's a final look at the BKT overall event leaderboard. Tyler Duke wins it with 31 points. Adam Anderson with 29. Corey Rummel 24. Tom Mintz with 22. And Bryce Kenny with 21 for the overall event leaderboard. Adam Anderson gets 12 points for the Freestyle win. Not enough to win the championship. We're going to head back downstairs with Leslie Mears and our overall event champion.
How's it feel to be here, Todd? Is this the boost that you needed to regain your confidence?
No, this was it. This was a turning point. I don't know what it was. It just clicked today, and to win this overall, the first one of the year was just unbelievable. Jeff and all the guys deserve wins, and I just been letting them down. A lot of seconds and thirds and just roller coaster, man. And just to dominate here was just unbelievable. And, well, I think we're on a roll here. You know, Jacksonville, Tampa, all the rest of these rounds coming up, man. You guys better be watching out.
It was Tyler Duke's night indeed. He finally wins the overall event championship. So can he continue to carry this momentum into Jacksonville for rounds 10 and 11? For Colt Stevens and Leslie Mears, I'm Scott Jordan. Good night from Orlando. We'll see you on the next Monster Jam.